Kelly Cardenas is in the studio.
CEO Vibe Consulting, website Kelly Cardenas, CARDENAS.com. Kelly, what's happening?
How are you doing?
Living the dream, surviving the nightmare.
What does the rehumanization service mean? What does that mean?
Well, it's taken the focus and putting it back on people. Like I consult with a couple of multi-billion-dollar businesses, and what's nuts about them is they're the same as somebody who makes a couple $1,000s a year, and it's people. And once you build the people, then everything is off to the races.
I like how you say what is left after you leave, right? That's what's important. What does that mean exactly? Is that because I'm always talking about a seamless customer service experience, which doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And I think the CEOs I think the CEOs don't know that. I think, let's say that I'm taking my staff out to lunch, okay, and we're going to go to the XYZ place, and there's a valet there. The fact of the matter is, when the guy comes to my door, and not Chris or Mary or some other female's door first, it's just bad manners. But the CEO doesn't know that. But this is supposed to be a high-ditch place. I got a valet there. And then by the time you get inside, they're acting like they're doing you a favor at the what is it? Is it called a hostess?
Hostess stand.
Mm-hmm. Is it called hostess?
Hostess.
Is it called a
host stand?
Yeah. Host stand.
Anyway, so don't you think there's a
stand?
disconnect between what CEOs think's happening and what's actually really happening? Because I'm kind of the point where I'm tired of paying for. Listen, I'm so inconsistent about this because I'll go fly somewhere exotic for a crazy vacation every 5 years, but then I'll bitch about a 19-cent can of peas. Okay? It's right? So I'm sort of tired of paying for something I'm not getting.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I may as well just be going to a diner if I'm going to get that kind of service. Don't you think there's a disconnect between what the CEO thinks happening or the board of directors thinks actually happening, and how do you solve that?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is to be present in the moment. Once you're present in the moment, then you create memories, right? And so we just went to the La Paloma Westin in Tucson. And we showed up, and as we're getting out of our Uber, before we even got to the trunk, a guy named Charles James approaches us, says, "Mr. Cardenas, Mr. Horgan, it's a pleasure to see you here." Now, I didn't say anything. No one knew my name.
Wow.
He had already researched us, found our pictures on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I love that. But I don't expect that level, though. I want the modicum of service at this point.
Well, let me give you
maybe that's the problem. Maybe we should demand better.
Let me give you the opposite side of it, though. Just recently, I took my son to get his brakes fixed on his e-bike. I take it there. I had got them done 3 weeks before. The brakes continue to squeak, but I couldn't get the bike there. So I go back and I tell the guy, and he said, "Oh, well, you're going to have to buy this again." And I said, "Well, wait a second. You are going to make me pay more to fix the problem you were supposed to fix." And he said, "Yeah, that's the way it is." And I looked, and the owner came out, and I thought the owner was going to take care of it. And the owner says to me, he goes through the scenario, and then he looks at me and says, "There must have been something that your son did to the bike to cause this to happen."
But isn't that funny? So,
and
what
that's
did you
a memory.
say?
Well, for me, I said, "You're willing for $70 to not only lose me as a customer, but also lose the network that I'm going to talk to. That's a negative memory. And I want to focus on those positive memories, the Charles James of the world." But what I found was with La Paloma, I didn't realize this, but the CEO of HM Alpha, which is that multi-billion-dollar company, that CEO only talks at his conventions about the positive things that people are doing that have nothing to do with the finances.
Right.
And that's where that culture came from.
Right.
Because he probably does that with his team.
Sure.
Knows their names.
Well,
Absolutely.
right?
And I watched him do it.
Yeah.
There's certain brands that, like, for Mike's sake, I'll just use fast food brands. In and Out, you're going to get service, right?
Greatest
Chick-fil-A, right?
Greatest customer service on earth.
Right.
We've talked about empowering your employees.
Allegedly.
And so one of the best brands I would say is Trader Joe's. Their service,
Same
their
thing.
customer service. And a guy stuffed my reusable bag too, and it was one I paid for, and I liked the bag, and it broke. And he's like, "You know what? Let me see if I can get you a new bag." And so the
You walked
manager
over to
came
the lady
over.
next door, just snagged one of
Yeah,
hers.
exactly. Gave me a 99-cent bag, but I'll tell you, he said, that's not a rule here. He
Right.
just was so empowered to make the customer feel good that he made it up on the spot. And then they said, yeah, and I got a free bag.
I got a problem with Trader Joe's, though, because one time I asked if I could ring the bell, and they said, "No, it's only for Trader Joe's employees."
Yeah, exactly. And you have to.
Bad memory.
You gotta treat 'em
No, but
So Kelly, you bring that into the leadership talks with the Vibe Room and stuff like that. Talk to people that who haven't seen you before.
Well, when we just got to present to HM Alpha just recently in Tucson, I spent the 2 days before, or a day and a half before, with all their staff, but they didn't know that I was the guy speaking. So I had memories with all of them, and then I was able to call them and use their name in something specific.
What a
and
burn.
And it lit the place
That's
on
cool.
fire, right? And so now it became personal. And
You went undercover as like a.
well, everyone was asking, are we opening a lifestyle brand? Because they looked at me and I didn't look like all the suits that were there.
Are we opening a lifestyle?
So now we go through and people are opening up to me, they're talking to me, and we have all these memories, and then I talk about the memories, and now they're engaged because it's about them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think in terms of a political will with organizations that you talk to,
Yeah.
okay, I think they're all going to nod yes, this is what we need. But how do you explain to them that this is going to directly affect their bottom line? Because the one gentleman you talked about that was speaking that talks about all the things that don't affect the bottom line, they really do affect the bottom line.
Absolutely.
You bring people back. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, I think that people understanding that the culture, I generally will relate it right to the ROI immediately. And if your people treat the people well, then those people are going to talk to more people, and now your marketing budget's going to go down. Because now you're not going to have to market as much because your people are going to be out there marketing for you. Your efficiency costs are going to go down. Your training is going to go down. Your the turnover, the employee turnover is going to go down. If you'll be a fan first of your employees and of your brand, then your employees can be a fan first of the guest, and then the guest becomes a fan of yours. And once that happens, we all know it. Like there's brands that we absolutely love that we wouldn't change even if they did us wrong, because we'll give them a pass.
Keeping the customers coming back. We talk about that all the time with our customer service guy.
So you talk about legacy, language, and the power of belief.
Yeah.
And I want to push back on something because there are so many look at if you have belief and no talent, you have an American Idol audition where these people believe that they are the next American Idol, but there's not a chance in hell they're going to be. And so I have to say that power of belief has got to go with some measure of hard work or some measure of obvious talent, does it not? Because I know this comes way back from your parents, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's identifying your purpose, which all of us have the exact same purpose, and that's to be in line with God's will for our life. And then if we identify our gifts, and those are just the things that you're innately great at, that you don't have to work at. And then you just build your life around those things and go give those gifts away to every single person that you possibly can. Then magic starts to happen and people start to say, oh, wow, you have a golden horseshoe. It's not that. It's just that I'm giving away my gifts. You have a gift. I've watched you guys. You guys have a gift in this, but you work at it. And you give it away to the world. And once the people see the Big Biz Show or they experience Loft 100, like for us, we're doing the Vibe Room again at Loft 100 because of the experience that we had.
Talk about your Vibe Room so people know it and how they can get involved with that.
Well, it began as a live version of our podcast, and what we wanted to do is couple live music, the best music in the world, which is right
Best in the
here
biz.
in the studio.
Well, let's not go too.
Hey, I'm telling you, just absolutely killed it. We added stand-up comedy because everyone told us that we couldn't, and then we said, let's have the greatest interviews, but the focal point was the person sitting next to you in the room that could shift everything in your life.
When's your next one? Can people watch live or you post them afterwards?
We might do it live, but it's March 11th here at Loft 100 Studios, and I hear that Sully and Costa are actually going to be here, possibly.
Yeah.
I just checked the calendar. We're both free.
Oh, really?
Kelly Cardenas, CEO, Vibe Consulting.
I'm going to see this for myself. I really do. I want to come by and watch.
The website is kellycardenas.com, CARDENAS.com. All right, keep it here. Much more to come. Big Biz Show rolls on right after this.